You put 2 fingers on her temple. The scan takes 12 seconds. You can see everything. Fairy lights on a rooftop. The specific way she laughed when she said yes. An apartment they were going to move into together. Names they had already picked for kids they hadn't had yet. 4 years of a life she completely believed in. And then, a bedroom door pushed open. Morning light. Him on the left side of the bed, which is his side. Except there's someone else on his side too. And she's standing in the doorway with her keys still in her hand because she came back early to surprise him and got surprised instead. She's been carrying all of it in the same frame for 4 months. Every time the room gets quiet, it starts again from the beginning. You slide a tablet across to her, standard consent form. She signs it without reading it. People in this much pain never read it. You've stopped pointing that out. You press confirm. You select the file. You delete it. She opens her eyes, sits there a moment, checks the anxiety patch on her wrist out of habit, looks at the number like she doesn't understand why it dropped, stands up, picks up her bag, walks out. She doesn't say anything because there's nothing in her head left to say anything about. You look at the empty chair. You wipe down the headset. You log the time. You've done this 22 times today. The world has 17 different ways to help people not feel things. Patches, pills, AI companions that text you exactly the right moment, give you everything you want to hear, and keep the dopamine just high enough that you forget to notice that you're alone. Mood apps that know your patterns before you do. None of them reach in and take the thing out. That's the difference. That's why the chair is never empty for long. The machine is in the back room under a gray sheet. You helped build it. You were employee number 7 at Open Mind. There before the first clinic opened. Before the first approval came through. When it was still 2 founders and a whiteboard and an idea that felt genuinely important to you. The kind of idea that makes you think, this is why I learned to do this. You were not the name on the patient, not the head scientist. You were the technician who understood the hardware better than anyone except the 2 people who designed it. You calibrated the scanners. You wrote the proximity check protocol. You were the one in the room when it worked and when it didn't. And you were proud of what it was. Then in 2054, a man named Zach Mossbergson bought the company. He made his fortune by stealing others' ideas. The kind of man who moves through industries looking for the next thing to scale and calls it vision. He cut session times. He cut staff. He pushed the machines past their rated capacity because rated capacity was designed by engineers who think small. You watched it happen from your desk. You kept running your sessions. You were in the building in 2056 when the engineers filed the risk report. The scanners pulse at a resonance frequency matched to the target neural cluster. 1 patient, 1 machine. Precise. Run multiple patients simultaneously, and the frequencies interfere. At full load, the feedback spike hits every connected nervous system in the room at once. You read that report. You knew what it meant. Mossbergson had owned the company for 2 years by then. He reviewed the flagged reports and opened 14 more clinics that quarter. In 2061, a Columbus, Ohio clinic ran a group session. 31 patients, 1 technician. A machine 6 days past its service window. 12 people died on the table. Cardiac arrests. Monitors going flat in a row. The footage came from a hallway camera. 12 minutes. It was everywhere inside the day. Mossbergson was at a product launch in Dubai. He posted a statement. Then a second. Then he hired someone to post a third. The ban came in 48 hours. All machines destroyed. Mandatory. Government verified. You had 3 days notice before the inspection team reached your facility. You took the machine apart, loaded it into your car in pieces over 2 nights. Told your supervisor the disposal team had already collected it. They're processing hundreds of units across 12 sites and nobody checked twice. You drove home. You spent 6 weeks reassembling it from memory. Then you opened a therapy practice. Proper office, website, Biofeedback assisted therapy, that's what you called it. You were selective about who got in. You'd watched what had happened when this work was done carelessly, and you were not going to be that. Real trauma only. The paying kind. The kind that doesn't shift with regular sessions. The man who hasn't stopped replaying the night his father died in a hospital corridor while he was stuck in traffic 20 minutes away. 4 years of that loop. You erase that loop. Not the love, not the grief, just the loop. He books his wife on the way out. After he leaves, you run a quick calibration scan. 40 seconds, just enough to check the equipment is reading clean against a known baseline. You move on. The woman who made one bad choice in 2058 told her husband. He forgave her. The marriage is fine now. When she wakes at 3 a.m. every night with it sitting on her chest. 6 years of 3 a.m. You erase the 3 a.m. She tips you 40% on top and you don't mention it. Then there's the man who wants to erase a football match. Not a metaphor. The 2062 World Cup final. His team. Penalty and extra time. He describes this to you like he's filing a police report. You ask if he's considered watching a different sport. He looks at you the way people look at suggestions that are technically correct and completely useless. You do the erasure. He pays. He leaves. You stare at the wall for a while and think about your career choices. They all leave lighter. That's the word they use. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that keeps the light on. Columbus wasn't the technology failing. It was Zach Mossbergson. One technician, 6 days past service. You run the proximity check every single time, even when the client is already in the chair checking their phone. Every single time. The waiting list hits 40 names. You're making more money than the open mind salary and working half the hours. You feel capable, needed. That's the first mistake. The call comes on a Tuesday. Unknown number. The voice is calm the way voices are calm when the person has never needed to raise it. He says he's heard about your practice. You ask who referred him. He says that's not important. Then he says he especially appreciated how careful you are with the proximity checks. You've never said the words proximity check to a single client. It's a technical term. It means nothing to someone without training. You're standing in your kitchen. Your hand tightens on the phone. None of the answers feel good. He names a figure. 4 times your rate. Cash, same day. A friend needs something specific addressed. Come directly. You should say no, but you give him the address. That friend arrives that evening, sits down, doesn't say much. You run the intake scan and you see it immediately. Not guilt, not grief, not a football match. A boardroom, a specific date. 2 men at a table going over numbers that don't match anything public. Clean, sharp edges. The kind of memory a person has been told to remove on a schedule. You reach for the confirm button and your hand stops about 2 inches short. Just for a second, you look at the screen. You look at the man. He sits down and adjusts the headset angle before you touch it. He already knows where it goes. Your hand moves the rest of the way. You close the window before you've finished reading it. You confirm. He pays triple and leaves. You tell yourself, 1 time. The second call comes 5 days later. Same voice, higher number, different friend. You say yes faster than you did the first time. By the third, you've stopped counting. By month 4, it runs 8 to midnight. 6 regulars, a number that only ever texts, confirms 40 minutes ahead, never sends a name. The corporate rate is 4 times your regular rate, and it clears the same day. You stop running the proximity check on corporate clients because their extractions are always clean bordered, and clean bordered is close enough. Then the following week, the client sits down and you begin the extraction, and 30 seconds in, the cluster starts to fracture. It is branched deeper than the scan showed, connected to adjacent memories you didn't map. You're pulling the wrong things. You can see it on the screen, lines going where they shouldn't. The proximity check would have caught this. You haven't run it on a corporate client in 6 weeks. You cannot stop mid-extraction without causing more damage than finishing. You finish. She sits up, looks around the room slowly. Then she looks at her hands and stays there. present in the room, but not quite in her own life. You've seen that look in the Columbus footage, in the training videos. You were told never to create it. She pays because the transaction is still in her muscle memory, even when the context isn't. She walks out. You sit in the chair for a long time. Then you open the Thursday schedule on your screen. You confirm the first appointment. You run the check twice on Thursday and Friday, and the sessions come back clean. And by the following Tuesday, you've almost convinced yourself that it was one bad branch in 100 clean ones. One night you finish a session and the client leaves, and you turn back to the workbench and there's a photo on it. Printed, physical, you in this room, taken through the window from the outside. The timestamp in the corner reads 2 nights ago. You didn't hear anyone come in. You didn't hear anyone leave. You look at the window. You look at the door. The room is exactly as it always is. You put the photo in the drawer. You tell yourself it is intimidation. You don't cancel the next session. Then the next corporate client sits down, and you run the intake scan, and the cluster on the screen has your face on it. Your face, this room, your hands on the headset, the specific angle of the light, and the woman from 2 weeks ago sitting in your chair looking at her hands. Someone watched that session, recorded it, loaded it into this client's head, and sent them here for you to find it. You take the headset off. The client watches you. He glances once at the machine's standby light, and then back at you. He's not nervous. He's on a schedule. You look at the confirm button. You look at the door. You think about the woman looking at her hands. You think about Zach Mossbergson posting 3 statements from a product launch. The client says one word: confirm. Your hand moves, steady now in a way that frightens you more than shaking ever did. You select the cluster. You delete it. He pays and leaves. The room is quiet. The waiting list has 43 names. You run a full self-scan that night, not the 40-second calibration check you run after sessions. The real thing. The full historical map you have not pulled up in years. The map comes up, and there's a gap. 6 weeks. Late 2061. Smooth where there should be texture. Clean in the specific way that only happens after an extraction. Someone put a headset on you and took something out, and you have no memory of it because that is exactly what they took. You try to find the edges. You get nothing. You check the date the gap starts. It is 4 days after you loaded the machine into your car. Someone watched you take it, let you drive home, let you spend 6 weeks reassembling it, let you open the practice and build the waiting list and feel like the careful version. The version Zach Mossbergson wasn't. You look at the photo of your daughter taped to the side of the monitor. You look at it for a long time. You know who she is. You know her name. You know she's somewhere in school. But the specific feeling that made you tape her photo there, that particular thing inside you that needed her face in your eyeline while you worked, that's somewhere in the gap too. You can see the photo. You cannot find the reason. You don't know what they took when they took it. You don't know what you were before the gap. You don't know what you became after. You don't know if the version of you sitting in this chair right now is the one who made any of these choices at all. You put 2 fingers on your own temple. The scan takes 12 seconds. You can see everything except the part that matters.